Hi, I'm Yisan Shafi, and I'm here to do a book review of The Big Short. One of the biggest things that he said that I see true is the big gap of education between Democrats and Republicans. It seems to be very true that most Democrats are are or have attended college and like to move and live with other people who have attended college because people seem to feel more comfortable with people of the same intellectual level. As in, Republicans are known to be very churchgoers and very realistic ideas, which causes neighborhoods to separate more and more into Democrats and Republicans. Now, when he said that what people look for in neighborhoods is people who try to fit their ideals with the same people, I find that true and false at the same time, because many people do look for communities who share the same ideas as they do so they can have a social comfortability, but also there many people just simply do not have a choice of living in that neighborhood, even though there is a lot of freedom to choose where you want to live today. Now, another reason why I find that the neighborhood separation is getting bigger and bigger is because of the minority majority neighborhoods. With the minority majority neighborhoods, as you know, um, minorities are all put into a single neighborhood, making them the majority population. So their voice doesn't seem as it does not have a greater effect, or not the same effect as, let's say, a neighborhood of a white majority. Now, this also creates a political separation in neighborhoods because most minorities would be seen as Democrats or liberals because of what they view and what they have been through in their lives. Now, with more college folk moving into neighborhoods, they also like to find technological cities because, well, they've been dealing with technology all throughout their college career, and it would seem kind of backstepping if they were to move in a city with no technological advances, and therefore Republicans, since it's becoming harder and harder for Democrats and Republicans to live together in the same neighborhood. One city is becoming more tech and democratic, while another city is becoming more Republican and more less technology. And another big, huge point I saw that he made in his book was the change between the amounts of Democrats and Republican and society. One major thing that he said that caught me by surprise was that the change of Republicans and the change of Republicans' ideals before and after 1960, which was during the point of civil rights movement, the shift in how Republicans were mostly, or there were more liberals at that before that time, and after 1960, they became more strict and more of what they are today, causing a majority of white workers to switch from Democrat to Republican. And all of this was impacted because of the civil rights movement. And you can see that clearly when he states the percentage of Democrat white workers before 1960 and the percentage of Democrat white Republicans after 1960. And so this had all a big effect on the shift in the sorting of Democrats and Republicans, because as you can see today, most white people would see themselves as Republicans because of they feel like they're not being represented correctly because of the need to protect immigrants and minorities more, making fearing that they would one day become the minority. Now another topic he brought up was the emergence of differences of opinion for the public, and thus affecting the political party. As people began to sort themselves out more, they began talking to other like-minded people, and they never reached any opposition to their ideas, thus creating them to believe that they are always right or any other idea except for mine is wrong. And this difference in opinion for the public affects the political party because it allows the stricter senators or stricter politicians to review their extremist ideas, and they now have more and more people to back their idea up and follow them as they want. And another thing that helped create differences in opinion is how parties define themselves before the Industrial Revolution and after the Industrial Revolution. Before the Industrial Revolution, parties were for the people, and Democrats and Republicans had little differences and most of the time agreed with each other. But now, as people are sorting themselves out and not being introduced to someone who oppose their ideas, have now created where political parties just don't agree with each other at all. You see that the two parties don't agree with anything and can hardly vote on something unanimously, and this leads to less reforms and less improvements our government can have. And this hurts the political party, but in turn also hurts us, because then no agreement can come into coalition, and we are left with whoever has the majority in Congress at the moment would have that power, and that could become very detrimental to our society. Now, he made one political reference about one's religion and how it helps contribute to the sort of what's going on today. Now that more neighborhoods are becoming more segregated between Democrat and Republican, more people are, Republicans are more likely to attend Sunday church every day and are more religious than Democrats. And so you get these emergence of gigantic different religious churches that help with the sorting, because they help impose their views of politics while keeping people within the Grassrooters Church. And one example he gave was the Second Baptist Church, how their members is growing to about 1,000. The way that the church keeps these people like they feel that they're involved in church is by separating them into cells, which I think he called them shepherds. And for example, one cell may be the entirety of the choir in church, and that cell may contain 200 plus people. Within those cells are subshells, and within those subshells are even smaller shells, to where there's only a group of 8 to 10 people that everyone is placed in. And that way, one, they're surrounded with people with the same views as them, which leads to bigger difference to the sort. And second, it keeps people from leaving the church. And one of the biggest churches that have ever done this was the Yoido Church in Seoul, South Korea, where there was thousands and thousands of members. And the church leader has explained how he had created a cell system in order to keep people in check. And with that, religion has contributed to sort by keeping the people together of like-minded ideas and all being under the church, which can then influence their ideas by what they say. And another topic he has brought up was how candidates change the way they campaigned. now candidates aren't just stating the truth, they aren't stating their ideas, but they're stating what the people want to hear from their own political party. They make sure that they switch their views and their opinions to people who are most likely to vote for them so they can win a place of office. And that has in turn created advertisement for politicians, leading them to spend millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars on their campaign just for the sole purpose of advertising and continuous advertising to the people who would seem most like-minded with them so that they can get the most votes. And with that, instead of being a campaign or a competition of who we think has better views, now it's a competition of who can spend the most money and who has the best advertisement where most people can see and that most people would want to relate to, even though it opposes their views. And this is just continuing and continuing to hurt our own democracy as time goes on. And now advertisements are also contributing to sort because their advertising is not tailored by region. It's not one uniform advertisement, but a advertisement that would be tailored to the region. McDonald's would not advertise a pork product in a Muslim country, or they would change their way they advertise in Florida rather than how they advertise in Texas. And this just all contributes to how it keeps people thinking that their area or their region is correct in their mind and their ideals, and how the advertisement is helping to sort by keeping Democrats and Republicans less likely to agree with each other or less likely to compromise with anything. And now we have where people who do not wholeheartedly agree with or even semi-heartedly agree with candidates of either Democrats or Republicans, and people are being forced to change their mentality in order to get what their party's candidate into office. For example, you can look at the last election of the presidential election, where many Republicans did not agree with Trump on what he said, but had to change their ideas because they did not want a Democrat in office, even though Hillary was not a better choice, but she was not as extreme as Donald Trump. But the Republicans did not want the Democrats to have another Democrat in the office, as well as more Democratic senators in Congress. So this led to people changing their ideas just to fit the candidates of their party. And rather than doing what they believe or what their constituents believe. And this all hurt our democracy. All of this, I agree with the author that this sort is hurting our democracy, and if this sort continued, there will be a big problem in the future. Thank you.